And just like that, another month has flown by. Hi, welcome to Movies with E, and thank you for clicking on today's video. As you can see by the title, we're going to be ranking all of the 8 April releases that I was able to catch, all new releases, both theatrically and streaming. I was able to catch 8 of them because those movies won't watch themselves. But sit back, grab a snack, and let's get this party started. So number 9 is The Yeti. So this came out very limited theatrical release. I think it was only 2 days only. I believe it was April 4th and 6th, and then it had a video on demand release on the 10th of April. And essentially, when I saw it going through my AMC app, I was like, I'll go check this out. So a buddy and I went. I didn't want to say I got my hopes up, but I was hoping it was going to be a fun cryptozoology movie. So I was like, yeah, this could be a chance to be a really cool creature feature. And right when the movie started, it definitely caught you with the vibe it was going for. It was trying to be this B movie along the lines of like the 1940s. We had a really cool opening kill, and bam, title The Yeti goes on with that old style font. And I was like, yes. Even the acting in the opening was a little off just because I knew they were trying to get you into that old style vibe. And then the movie goes downhill after that. The beginning felt very rushed. It did have some cool character concepts, but none of them were fully fleshed out. None of them were fully explored. Like I said, just rushed through that. And then essentially you're already in the snow in the Himalayas looking for this Yeti. And it was just so much of a slow burn on that end where nothing exciting was happening. I was struggling staying awake. I nodded off for about 5-10 minutes, woke up, didn't miss anything. But it was just a drag to get to the act 3 where we finally see the Yeti. And that's really where the positives of this movie are. Considering its budget, the Yeti did look cool, and they did practical effects, which is always a big win. There's a really cool intestine kill in this one too, where you get a good dose of that carnage candy. But that being said, the majority of the kills too were off screen, so you didn't get to live in that carnage candy for that act 2. And then act 3, like I said, just goes off the rail even more. Some weird stuff happens with plot wise that we're not really asking for, and it's like, why? Yeah, I don't want to spend too much time on that. Like I said, just positives are the little bit of the carnage candy and the Yeti itself. Everything outside of that was kind of just a mess. So easily my least favorite of April 2020. Coming in at number 7 is Thrash. So this is a shark film that came right onto Netflix, and when I saw this movie get released and saw the reviews coming in, it was just getting bombed, which in that regard, it kind of caused a little curiosity in me. And I was like, is this as bad as it's going to be? Is it as bad as they're saying? And essentially, I will say no. If you like shark films, you will have a little bit of fun with this one. So essentially, for me, the setup was cool. The way the sharks are going into this town is, B movie fun. The hurricane scene where the floods are coming in is stuff you would see in those post-apocalyptic movies where there's just destruction. Really cool scenes of seeing the flood go through the city through windows, which if you were there in real life, that would be scary as hell. So that essence, all that carnage was captured very well. They have a little bit of stakes with one of the main characters being pregnant, which totally goes off the rails in the third act. And we'll get there. I'll explain some stuff here. And I will say, essentially spoiler free, just in case you do have some curiosity, check this one out. Like I said, the setup was cool. There was a meat truck that gets crashed and blood goes through the water. And when I saw that and that zoom out where you're seeing the blood in the water, I'm like, okay, the setup is actually pretty creative, pretty cool. It explains how the sharks are going to be swarming this town in that big flood. But yeah, people saying it's basically a cheapened down version of Crawl is pretty spot on. But instead of an alligator, we get sharks. But yeah, and then Act 3 does a total tonal whiplash where I was actually laughing. My jaw was open. Like, is this really happening in front of me right now? And all the tension, which there was little of throughout the movie. They relied more on the shark jumping out of the water, a lot more of those jump scares. But you do get carnage candy, so if that's what you want, those scenes will be cool. But like I said, I didn't think it was nearly as bad as it was being brought out to be until the ending, where I was just like, wow. I'm not even going to go into the ending. I think it's one of those movies where you just got to experience that. But like I said, total tonal whiplash, the way it's even edited, the song choices, the events with the pregnant lady, just everything gets very messy. And it's just like, what is going on right now? So yeah, Thrash, number 7. All right, coming at number 6 is the Super Mario Brothers Galaxy movie. So I did enjoy the first one, the Super Mario Brothers movie. I had a lot of fun with it. And essentially the sequel, I was like, right on. This looks like it's gonna be a lot of fun. Looks like you're gonna be right into that Nintendo universe. And I was looking forward to it. And just the first 30, 45 minutes, I remember just being like, this feels super random. All the cuts together were going, and it was just oddly edited. The story was kind of just random. So I saw this one with my girlfriend as well, and after the movie she mentioned that too, that it kind of felt random and that she was kind of zoning out here and there. It was a good night at the movies, but the story was just not captivating. The only character arc really was only given to Princess Peach and Bowser. Mario stayed the same throughout the whole movie. There's nothing even remotely new added to that romance that he has with Princess Peach that they were kind of hinting at it was going to escalate in this movie, but then nothing happens with that. But like I said, it's a fun night at the movies. When it hits streaming, if you haven't seen it, I'm sure you'll have a little bit of fun, especially if you're a Super Mario's fan. There's a lot of cool Easter eggs that immerses you in that Mario world. It feels like you're at that Mario theme park. Even the voice casting, though, outside of the main characters felt very random. Like even the stars just sound like generic kids. They were like, hey, you want to make $10 and voice for a couple minutes. And then also a couple days before this movie, I was just minding my own business on Facebook, and apparently Nintendo thought it was a good idea to reveal. And if you haven't seen the movie and you were lucky enough to stay away from all this and you were interested in seeing this movie, skip forward because I'm about to drop something. But they had Glenn Powell voicing Star Fox, and it's like, why would you even mention that? And then when I saw that, I'm like, okay, maybe they'll have some other cool characters from Nintendo show up, and this was just kind of like wetting the whistle for Super Smash Brothers fans. But no, Glenn Powell's Star Fox was the surprise of that movie. No other characters were hinted at until like the post-credit scene, but I was just in awe. Like, why would you spoil that? So that kind of ruined the whole Star Fox cameo appearance. And again, his it was kind of coherent how they shoehorned it in, but like I said, the story makes no sense. The story is just random, and it feels like a bunch of Easter eggs and fan service being thrown at the wall with very minimal story. Something I do want to say that I forgot was that another cool positive about this movie, though, if you're into that fan service Easter egg stuff, there was some cool scenes, especially in that climax where Mario and Peach are going through those famous Mario obstacles, and it cuts through the actual animation of the movie scenes going through it, and then Bowser and Bowser Jr. behind behind a computer screen. They're the ones controlling all of it, and the way it's shown on their screen looks like those retro Mario movies. So I kind of thought that was a cool style and a cool touch to incorporate the old video game look into this modern movie. And like I said, just a really cool Easter egg. So yeah, that is number 6. Number 5 is Dolly. So I won't spend a little too much time on this one. If you're interested in hearing a little bit more about this, you can check out my other video from a few days back where I'm giving 3 horror wrecks. But Dolly, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the video, is in there. So I spent a little bit more time on this one. But yeah, this one was a cool type of slasher-esque psychological horror film. Essentially, you got a person dressed up as a doll kidnapping someone and keeping them and mothering her. So the big highlight, like I said in that video back, was just the look of this, that 16 millimeter film grain look. You get that retro style from the 70s and 80s, and some good Carnage Candy moments. The acting and the story is where this kind of suffered, but there was enough there to spike my interest to see if this did spawn a Dolly 2 or Dolly 3 and had a bigger budget and more well-rounded cast to back it up. I would check out the sequel, but it's definitely for fans of that genre. So if that spikes your interest, go check out that vid I did a few days back, and go check out Dolly. It is on Shudder. So yeah, that is number 5. Coming in at number 4 is Bob Odenkirk's new action flick, Normal. So I had a good amount of fun with this one. It's you got Bob Odenkirk starring as a sheriff. He's kind of a replacement slash substitute sheriff for this one town named Normal in Minnesota. And as he's there, he's kind of just this carefree cop and notices that this town isn't right. They have tons of guns, tons of C4, gold, and tons of cash in the bank. and just something's hitting his spider sense. And a bank robbery goes down, and boom, that starts off this action thrill ride. So this is another one that I did a total review on, actually. So go check out that video if you haven't. Some highlights of that one was, of course, Bob Odenkirk, big Bob Odenkirk fan, and I'm enjoying these action movies. It's a shame this one didn't do as well at the box office. In the review I did also, I did say this could have had a lot more action. It did have action, so if you want an action movie, definitely check this one out. But just from his previous work and just kind of how they marketed this one, I was expecting a little bit more action. Maybe it'll be just enough when I do rewatch this. But like his other projects too, when the action hits, Bob Odenkirk is there to prove that he can handle that kind of fights, gun brawling, good time. Story wise too, and character wise, Bob Odenkirk's really the only character that gets a little bit fleshed out. There are some cool side characters, and there's even some characters that just kind of felt like they were there for those comedic timing deaths, and I feel like fleshing them out would have added to the story a little bit more and added even more comedy into those deaths they had. But yeah, it just kind of felt fast paced in that regard. So it took its breathers in different ways that I would have liked to, because you do get a little bit of character exploration on Bob Odenkirk during those breathers, but I think it could have been shared around the table a bit and made the side characters he meets that kind of helps him out throughout the movie, all the more talented people, would have added to the world building of this film. But all things aside, those are just little nitpicks that I found myself wanting a little bit more of into the movie. And action wise too, like I said, could have used a little bit more action, but there is some awesome carnage. There's some good gunfights. There's good fist fights. And another thing too, the kickoff to Act 3 felt a little too extreme and too like out there. But again, it's the kind of movie we're in, so you can't really nitpick it too much. But that part took me out of the movie just a little bit. But then I was like, you know what, we're fine. Let's get back into having fun with normal. So yeah, that is number 4. All right, number 3 is Lee Cronin's The Mummy. So this one's another video or another review I did video wise. So if you haven't checked that out, recommend you go see what's up with that one. I talk The Mummy for 20 minutes, so I have a lot to say. But to keep this video on the shorter side, biggest thing is calling it The Mummy. It does feel like the Evil Dead to the toppest degree. So it just felt derivative from the Evil Dead movies, a little bit of The Exorcist and Pet Sematary, and delivering on nothing that it said it would, The Mummy. But that being said, if you're fans of the genre, fans of those movies, and you like more of that gross out, in your face horror, you'll have a lot of fun with this one. It did offer that. It's a roller coaster ride of a movie. Some really cool cinematography shots. The acting from the magician was really good. She's a really cool, cold, calculating character. It's carnage candy galore. At a little over 2 hours, it's oddly paced. They could have cut a little bit of that out. But all around, it was a solid horror entry into the month of April. But I just wish it had what it said it was going to deliver, was a mummy. So yeah, Lee Cronin's The Mummy coming in at number 3. So number 2 is Over Your Dead Body, and this is that dark comedy with Jason Segel and Samara Weaving. And this is another one that I did a video on. So again, go check that video out if you haven't already and you want to hear a little bit more discussion on this movie. But essentially, they play a couple that goes to a cabin trip, and they are both planning on killing each other. And when that happens, great comedic, dark comedy ensues. It has really good gore in it too, but it's done in a comedic manner. And the chemistry between Samara Weaving and Jason Segel were great. Jason Segel does some laugh out loud moments, so does Samara Weaving, showing that she can showcase a little bit more range of talents than just screaming. She does do some good comedic timing, but she does what she does best here, and that's kick ass and scream. And then there's a cool plot twist of events too that happens that I won't spoil, but it sends this movie into something else entirely. But that's where the carnage kicks up. And by Act 3, there's just going to be a lot of gasps, a lot of like, holy shit, what's going on? And stuff like that. So if you haven't seen it already, I do recommend checking this one out in theaters. And if you can do it in more of a packed setting, this is one of those films that will definitely be more enjoyable with that reaction and more of that community aspect. But yeah, this was just a ton of fun. And like I said, carnage and comedy, it delivers. So this is number 2 on my month of April. So coming in at number 1, my favorite of the month was the drama. So this is one that I had no interest in seeing, and it even surprises me that this is number 1 of my April. But I just had a really good time with this. So this is another one too that I have a video on. So if you want to see a little bit more discussion on this, go check that out. But essentially, I had no interest in seeing this. The trailer, when it did come out, I was like, I'll watch the trailer one more time. And the way they shot that trailer, they didn't reveal the plot point of that movie, which is essentially a couple getting married, Zendaya and Robert Pattinson. They're with some friends and they're playing a game while drinking. Everyone's saying the worst thing they ever did. I won't spoil it, but Zendaya's character drops some heat on them. They're like, whoa. And it goes there. And I just loved that they didn't show any of that in the trailer. So it actually caused curiosity on my end. And I was like, I got to go see this. I sent the trailer to my girlfriend, thought she would like it too. So we went and saw it that night. And we both ended up really enjoying this movie. I think I enjoyed it even more. It was just more of a surprise on my end. Like I said, I don't really enjoy these types of movies, but it wasn't your typical romantic drama. It was a little bit of romantic drama, a black comedy, as well as elements of a psychological thrilling aspect, weaving its way through there. I was on the edge of my seat. Certain scenes gave me that anxiety of like, what's going to happen next? And it was just great all around. You were invested in these characters. You were just interested in seeing what they were doing with the secret that was dropped, how they were handling it. Robert Pattinson and Zendaya both did great performances. Yeah, this is one of those that if it wasn't on your radar, if you had no interest in seeing it, definitely recommend this one. I had fun with it, and it seems to do pretty well. It did spike some controversy, but we're not going to get into that because that kind of spoils the movie. But yeah, go check this out if you haven't already. And that is my number one of April. So that wraps up this list. Let me know yours down below, what you were able to catch this month. Would love to hear it, discuss some movies with you. And I'm looking forward to this coming month, May. Little disclaimer too, I did see Hokum on April 30th, but the technical release date of that is May 1st, so I'll include that into my May ranking. I did enjoy that movie though, and I see it being high on my May list, but we do have a good selection of flicks coming out this May, so it's going to be a tough month. That being said, if you enjoyed the video, let me know by pressing that thumbs up button. I do enjoy making these ranking videos. That adds a little bit of spice to the channel. If you haven't subscribed already, be sure to do so you don't miss another video. To the subscribers that have subscribed, thank you. And as always, anybody who clicked on the video, thank you for watching. I do appreciate you taking the time to watch me talk movies. And I'll catch you in that next video. And as always, keep watching those movies because those movies won't watch themselves.